and change it for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, go change your laundry, bro.
I'm not gonna. You would wait. You would wait until you were recording to say that. I want you to know. I want you to know. I'm in a different place today than I've been the last couple of times we've been chatting.
Oh,
Okay. I'm in a
perfect.
I'm in a different place,
That's what we
and
need.
you you pitched this idea to me, and
No, this is exactly what I wanted.
I shan't be holding back.
All right,
Okay,
good.
so
Good.
I also just like I wanna is this actually episode 69?
This is legitimately episode 69.
Okay, so if you're the six and I'm the nine, does that mean you finish first?
Actually, I think you're the 6, but I
I would
always finish
like
first.
I I left that one open, so I guess can't be mad about it. But I don't quite understand, like, the whole point of that as a configuration is just like, everybody is in the same position.
I'm not following.
Okay, well, we
Everyone
can,
is in the same position. Okay, there's a top and a bottom, right? So
well,
are you
sure.
saying everyone's receiving fellatio?
That's not what I was saying. I mean, that is kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, that is the same position. If you think about it that way.
I don't know. I'm not really, that's not my area of expertise. I don't really have an area of expertise, but I can tell you that that's definitely not it.
Same.
You can't even keep a straight face while you try to say that. Like, what in what world are you like? Yeah, I
It's
want
been
you.
a
I
while.
want you to just clip. I want you to just clip that silence that we just had, and it's just your mouth, just like the edges of your mouth, trying really hard not to break into a
Oh
smile.
my
Like that's what I
gosh.
want.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
and
But
and then
yeah,
you can clip that and put it like put it top and bottom, and then you post it and you say, what did Ryan say to me here, and just let the people go.
that's funny. That's a good idea, honestly.
I make content in my sleep, whore.
Yeah, and you've been posting it more. You've been
I
posting
don't
more
know,
lately.
it's I have more so just because like I have all these pictures of like the last like basically year and a half that just like are sitting on my phone, and I'm like, I don't know, it's time to unleash the vault. There's not really like a vault, but whatever.
Oh, you got a vault.
I don't just like, what does that even mean?
Well, I'm gonna do a quick intro. Sound good? Well, then we'll just get into it.
Oh, you're introing? Okay.
Yeah. Just then it'll be. I practice this, okay? All right, guys. As Drake once said, the square root of 69 is 8 something. Welcome to episode 69 of the Trainer Scoop podcast, the nicest episode of the Trainer Scoop podcast you'll ever witness. Let's take it there. To be completely honest with you guys, it's been about 2 months, 2.5 months since I've done a podcast. And there's an interesting story behind that. I originally, and Ryan was there. I ran this by him. He said it was a little too tongue in cheek, but I originally wanted to get the girl I was dating on the podcast for episode 69, just as like a fun little joke. But we broke up. So like the podcast just hasn't been at the top of the priorities. I'm just
These
explaining.
lies and slander that you
Dude,
are starting out
no.
this podcast
I
with.
told you this and you were like, that's a little too tongue in cheek. You said that. Or you said
I
like
was
that's a little too like heavy or something like that.
I probably said something to the effect of, "Don't you think that's a little heavy-handed?"
Yeah, heavy handed. That was it. That was it.
Okay. I'll
So
accept that.
I'm not saying it was your fault.
No, I'm not taking responsibility for any of that. We can
Yeah.
we can
But
discuss other
but yeah,
situations from your past at a later date.
there's a lot. So that was the plan for episode 69. And then that happened. And I was like, I'm just gonna take some time from the podcast. And then I was like, you know what? Everybody knows the relationship that Ryan and I have. They've seen the podcast, they've watched the videos. This is the right thing to do. And just the fact that it's episode 69 with me and Ryan makes it good. This is a, honestly a better substitute than what I had. Couldn't have dreamed it up better. So let's do
I
it,
love
dude.
that the I want everyone to know, I'm sure Dave will cut it out, that prior to Dave's intro, he was like, I rehearsed this intro.
I
And then
didn't, but
you had two sentences that one of them was a, a Drake line that was not good.
oh, but that's the only Drake line that references 69.
Did you're big into Drake's poetry book? You
I
got
don't
Drake's
have it.
poetry
No,
book?
no.
Oh, okay. Well,
Did
it's,
you?
no.
No, yeah.
Unlike everybody else who was born between the years 1992 and 2001, I don't exclusively use Drake lyrics for my Instagram captions. So, no, I did not buy the Drake poetry book.
I think I've done that before.
Yeah. Were you born between the years of 1992 and 2001? Certainly you were. So, thank you so much.
You're
Hand me
welcome.
my dollar.
All right, do your thing, 21.
Um,
Another
hey,
Drake lyric.
everybody. Hey, everybody. Apparently, I'm hosting the podcast today and I'm interviewing Dave. I should have probably like asked the people if they had questions that they wanted to ask prior to. Well, yeah, because they could have sent them to me anonymously, and I have no
Oh
shame in
God.
asking you anything.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my opening question. Okay. This is my new tier two icebreaker question. Okay. So, like when you're at a party, you're at an event or whatever, meeting people, and like, I don't know if you've ever been to like some sort of like networking class, they're like, hey, come up with like a good icebreaker question. Like, what's your icebreaker question? And like, if you're all listening to this, get rid of the like, what do you do for work? Like, what do you do? Like, just like delete it, jail, we're done. Okay. Find a new tier one icebreaker question. This is tier two icebreaker question. Okay. This is like, we know each other a little bit more. Maybe you're on a bachelor party. So, like, everybody there has like an automatic, like, we know each other, but we don't know each other. Okay. You ready? Have you ever shit yourself? And if so,
Yes.
when and where?
Oh, dude, multiple times. This dates back to probably first one that I can remember was probably a 2003 or 2004 summer. Oh, no, 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 no. It was
How
2005
old were
because
you?
2005 I was 8. We were on the way home from
That
Jamestown
no, no, no. As an adult, this is like
as an adult.
you have to at least be in your teens, like
Okay.
15, 16.
Okay, yeah.
Anything before that is just like carryover from like I don't know childhood, but like
Have I ever shit
teenager into
myself?
an
Yep.
adulthood.
Yeah, dude. One time I was going, I believe this was a shit. I was going,
What do you mean? I believe this was a shit.
I've
It
pissed
was a
myself multiple
chicken. Like
times. No, no, no. I'm thinking like, was this a piss or was this a shit? I'm pretty sure this was a shit. Uh, okay. Also, you have to consider that I live in the country, like with my parents for a majority of my life. So like that solves some problems. So I'm gonna tell two stories. The first time I got locked out of my grandpa's house, I would go to my grandpa's house after school all the time. So I was like 14 or 15, like right before I got the license, and like he lived in town. So I was fucked. Like I was like frantically trying to find a spare key. Just like it was a honestly traumatizing experience. And I shit myself, man. I'll own it. And I went into his garage and I tried to find like a 5 gallon bucket, but I wasn't about to just shit on his floor. And it just started happening. And yeah. So I did find some rags though. Just made the best of it. And then my mom came and got me. I said, Mom, will you come get me? Okay, another time. This was the summer of 2021. So, like I said, I live out in the country, right? With my parents at the time, and I got locked out of the house once again. I forget shit all the time. The amount of times that I've forgotten things, misplaced things, or just completely not brought the thing from my apartment while hanging
you
around
don't
Ryan
say.
has been, you can count it on more than one hand. So I left my key inside and got locked out. And back to my parents' house. The key is they live out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm gonna shit myself. And I do it. I do it like behind the building where the gym was. So it's like kind of private.
So
But
you
wait,
didn't like
but
just
wait.
pull your pants down and
No, I
like take
did.
a
I did.
shit?
No, I
That's
did.
not
Yeah.
shitting yourself.
Hold up, hold up. So then comes a time where I get back in the house, it's all good. And the dog comes out and immediately goes and eats my shit. Like I was like, Bear, no, 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 no. And he ate it all, bro. Like he was out there licking his lips. He ate it
Okay.
all.
Yeah, that's rough. That's
Yeah. But other than that, I've never shit myself. That's a good question, though.
well, so this came up. I was back in Columbus for a little while, and uh some people were talking about like an offshoot of the Armchair Expert podcast where I think it's called Armchair Anonymous, and they were like doing stories of people who had shit themselves. And I kind of was like, I I've ne- I've as an adult, certainly as like a child like under 10, definitely have. Can't necessarily like remember the stories off the top of my head, but like as an adult, have not ever. And we're also talking like full, like this is not like a fart that you just like misjudged and like a little extra came out. Like we're talking full on,
Hit yourself.
like you got to get rid of these pants. Like there's no saving them. You just got to like cash them. Like it's that,
Oh,
right? But there was like this whole Armchair Anonymous episode about it, and I was like, I've never done this, but like I also was like, I don't know anybody who's ever done it, and now I know a lot of people who've done it because I'm just like asking questions. I'm like, no, this is a safe space because it's like I I don't actually have any judgment about it. I like don't
yeah.
care, but it is like I don't know, like make normalize shitting yourself.
Yeah. Dude, it happens. It's gonna happen. It guarantee it. You haven't
That's
shit yourself, you will.
well, I mean, I'm certainly gonna like go over the hill and it's just like downhill from there. You know what I mean? Like my bodily functions barely work now and I'm not even 30 yet. So like they're definitely I had like a back injury when I was like 21, like a debilitating back injury when I was 20.
True.
Like and I got shingles when I was 25. Like it's only gonna get worse.
I'm gonna be there to put the pillow over your mouth. So you got that solace.
I'd prefer just like genuinely like I don't know, like out of an airplane or like off a cliff or something. Like,
Like a
you
Tom
know,
Cruise base jump.
a Tom Cruise base jump. I will be seeing the new Mission Impossible this week. Can't wait.
Tomorrow, right?
Yes, yeah, today is Tuesday.
Oh,
Anyway, so Dave, you've been going to the gym a long time. How many years are you counting it officially of like you seriously working out? Like when someone says, "How long have you been like in the gym?" What's the number that you give?
dude, it's honestly as of November, it'll be 9. So 8.5 maybe. We're close to November, not quite.
Okay. So what's that? Are you senior year of high school?
So it was actually the November of my sophomore year.
God, I'm old. Do you notice how like I did the math for like kind of myself, not really myself, but kind of myself?
You're only 2 years off.
Okay, so you're counting that sophomore time frame. You say like if someone's like, "How long you been in the gym?" You say 9 years.
Yeah, I was like following like bodybuilding.com programs. So like,
I mean, if you were a person who started working out, I feel like between like 2010 and like 2016, I feel like you did a workout from
oh
bodybuilding.com. I feel
yeah,
like just like anybody who started during that time frame, like that's what you did. That's where you started because like you didn't have the money to go to like do anything else, and like the fitness craze hadn't taken off the way that it's taken off now,
yeah,
and
dude.
like everybody did something from bodybuilding.com.
Is either that or the if you did powerlifting, Johnny Candido had a free 6 week, completely revolutionary for the time. Still holds up today, and it was just donations only. It's literally that literally changed the face of the game. And
I don't
he
know who that
still does
person
it.
is, and I've never heard of that, but love that.
He was big on YouTube back in the day. Like from Cincinnati, went to St. Thomas Aquinas. Now he lives in Texas, like a lot of the powerlifters do. And it's crazy because like he used to be the shit back in the day. Like everybody was like, this motherfucker is strong. But now you have people like Russ and like just the freaks that have started doing it. And Johnny's still strong, but like it's just nothing compared to what it used to be.
Well, it feels like it is kind of freaks across the board now because everyone's like starting so much earlier with so much more information.
Mm-hmm.
Like I I don't even think like people my age, if they had started working out in high school the way that I feel like a lot of high schoolers are starting to work out now, would have been able to achieve what kids now are able to achieve because it's just like the access to the information and all like the training and everything just wasn't there the way that it is now. So it's like
Dude, it's almost like go ahead.
no, it's just it's a like a truly unfair advantage. Like there's no how are you supposed to keep up with that?
But at the same time, very, very few percentage of those kids will actually, because of like the landscape of social media and like the trend wins and TikTok and I think just the comparison era that we have now compared to then, like I think so many of those kids will fall off. They'll probably refind it, but like I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I do always like ponder, is there more of it or are we just seeing more of it? You know what I mean? Like, is there actually more people like in the gym and going to the gym and like doing this? Or do we just have more visibility to the amount of people that are doing it now because everyone's trying to get famous on social media? Which, like,
Yeah,
no shade. Like, if I could do it, I would do it. I don't
for
really have
sure.
the chutzpah to do it.
Dude, probably slightly more, but yeah, it is definitely inflated.
Yeah.
The
It'll probably
stash
come
is
up in the
looking
middle.
clean, by the way. I need to mention that.
It's okay. I gotta clean this up a little bit, but it's all right. It's all right. We're doing okay. I'm
Yeah,
also fully post gym, no shower right now.
I feel like that's just how you live your life.
Okay, that feels a little hateful. That's not true.
Facts. Okay. What's the next
Okay,
question, Ryan?
so you've been going to the gym. We're calling it 9 years. Do you like have distinct phases? Like, do you have like distinct periods of time where you're like, okay, like these 2 years, and then it was these 2 years, and then it was this 1 year? Like, what are the phases of the last 9 years?
Oh, for sure, dude. Okay, so I'll say the first year was just like, what the fuck is going on? So, wasn't really a phase, but that was the intro. So we start the album off with, I'd say, let's compare this to, you got me on my Drake reference game. Let's compare
I want
this.
to be clear. I didn't get you on that game. Just to be clear, you got yourself there. I did not. I did nothing.
All right, so
Continue.
so a lot of people argue that Scorpion will be someday a classic album. So let's say the Ratchet Happy Birthday phase was the football lifting days. I lifted with the football team and then like with a guy afterwards for a good like 2 years. And dude, honestly was really lucky to have the football coach and he like knew that I cared and like would help out younger guys. Like I was obsessed with learning the form, obsessed with getting the lifts down. I wasn't just there fucking around. Didn't end up playing football, but like he was like, dude, you should come lift. Like if you want to play, you can play. He told me he's like, you're probably not going to get a lot of varsity playing time, but like you're more than welcome. He's like, you'll probably get some minutes. You'll play some JV. And I was like, yeah, like I don't really want to do that, but like I'll lift with you guys. Got strong as hell within like that 2 year period. Also lifted with Nathan Mays. Shout out to Nathan. Just went to his wedding a month ago. Um, dude showed just a different kind of work ethic. Like a lot of people would shit on him and say like, oh, like he didn't deserve to go Division 1. Went to like Youngstown State, so like not the top, but like pretty damn good. And he's quarterback there, and the dude was a dog in the gym. And he doesn't even like lifting, but just like the fact that he went as hard as he did because he knew it would have that outcome taught me a lot. And then Jack Wilbur got in my ear, unfortunately. And we did the Corey G squat every day. That lasted from like 2015 to 2017. So that was probably the if we're comparing this to Scorpion, the what's the song of the you got a real one, your reflection. What's that song called? Without a problem. It has the
I
Frida
know.
sample. That was that era. And definitely the work ethic was laid there. Like I was getting up early every day, training hard, a little bit too hard, squatting every day was not the move. But then you entered into, well, I started and then you entered into the Zach Hummel era. And goodness, I've learned more and more about that situation since being back in Indianapolis. But yeah, got heavy into powerlifting specifically, got fat as shit. We would lift quite a bit, so that was a great era in itself. I'll say that was the emotionless era, right? Great song. And no, that was a fun era, probably the most fun era looking back on it because you got into the gym, you had some crazy results right off the jump. Like you made a lot of progress at the time, had some good bonding. It was a fun time. And from there, I kind of got out of the Zach Hummel stuff, got really into Jeff Nippard. And then from there, I could say that was probably a good 2 years or so of being heavily invested into those programs, did those with you as well. And that took me to my time in New Jersey. Also started working with a coach, Zach Gallman, right before that time. And he taught me like intensity and like the basics. Like the basics are important. So I mastered the basics during that time. So it went from just like decent football programming to like get the work to like, oh, let's do powerlifting to like, let's master the basics and get strong. And then from there, kind of got over powerlifting after a while, started in the hypertrophy phase, and that's the phase we're in. Been heavily influenced by Renaissance periodization, learning a lot of the scientific principles behind training. I'd say still my training became more intense, pushed it harder than I ever have. My form is better than it ever has been. And yeah, we making some hypertrophy gains. So
Oh, we're on time countdown.
yes,
Damn.
we
All
are.
right.
It went quick. But yeah, man, those were the phases. And you've
Do you
been
have a
around
favorite?
for a lot of it.
You have a favorite one?
Hmm. Oh, that's a very tough question because it's like, do you have a favorite ex-girlfriend? No, you learned lessons from them all and you had fun. You hate some of them. You don't hate others. Good analogy. No,
No.
didn't land.
Nope, not at all. Nope.
Do you
Because
you have a
that
favorite
implies
ex-girlfriend?
don't we're not there. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. I
Not
just had to
doing it.
retell that. I just had to retell that whole story to somebody recently, and it was like three people who didn't know anything, and they sat there just like jaws on the floor. We're like,
Oh,
can't believe
you
that
should
happened.
introduce them to me.
No. One of them is single, and you have no self restraint. Okay, you didn't answer the question.
Yeah. Do I
Do
have
you
a
have
favorite?
and the ex girlfriends is a terrible analogy.
Yeah, that was a
Don't do
bad
it again.
analogy. I'll edit that out. Um, oh man, do I have a favorite? That's so
I'm here with
tough,
the hard
dude.
hitting questions.
That's
I'm
so tough.
here with
I
the
mean, I
hard
just
hitting
loved working out
questions.
with Jack Wilbur because I thought he was super cool and like Ohio State was new at the time and like we would just
Yeah.
lift and then like go get hammered and shit. Like it was a good time in life. So that was probably a fun era. But dude, also like lifting with you, we made some great gains. So that was really fun too. And just getting to hang out with you. I mean, honestly, those two were the best.
Yeah. I mean, there's no like right or wrong answer here. And also like that wasn't at all me trying to fish for you to say like
I know.
lifting with me. I don't
Yeah, it was
care.
you,
I mean,
Ryan. It's always been you.
get out of here. So I guess like since you've been going, you and I talk a fair amount of just like day to day, and I don't want to like hit on things that you like have been talking about on social media. So like I don't want you to tell me like mistakes or anything because like I think you've already done a lot of that. But what I want to know is what is the best or your favorite compliment someone's given you since you started going to the gym about like either like your body from going to the gym or like your like work ethic at the gym, like what's your favorite compliment you've gotten?
Hmm.
I see the wheels turning, so don't you dare give us the G-rated version when I know where your fucking brain is
Okay,
going.
so one that like was really cool for me was like when Corey Gregory told me I looked really good. That was just like I was like, damn, like this dude was literally my fucking idol.
Yeah.
And he said that. And I was like hanging with him on shit. Like everyone would leave, people would not be doing the workouts like he would be, but I would be. And I know he meant that. And that was really cool. Just because like your idols become your rivals. That's another Drake line. Um, yeah, that's about it. Honestly, like you get little ones here and there, but those two stick out.
I was gonna say those are the two that stuck with you.
Yeah, they really did. That's a good question. You come with some good questions.
Well, I'm trying to ask questions that you like don't necessarily talk about all the
Yeah.
time and get to like the core of it. The
Yeah,
Corey one
dude.
is I think the Corey one's interesting, like from a multitude of perspectives. Like one, that was like so early on in I think your like lifting career, like, as you were like talking through the phases, like that's like phase three technically,
Yeah, like
right? Like,
halfway through.
yeah. And I feel like as just like gym time goes, and this is like kind of true to life as well, right? Like that's where you've finally like maybe taken a step back and been like, oh, like actually maybe all of this work, like hard work is paying off, and like you're starting to see it as well, and you're starting to feel that way. So then to like have another person, like an external person, especially a person that you like look up to, like notice it and say it. It's kind of true about anything, right? Like it's as much as you and I've talked about on this podcast before, like external versus internal validation. And like you can see it all you want, but it's always going to feel nice to have somebody else notice like the results or notice the hard work or notice the work ethic or whatever. And like sometimes for better or worse at the early stages, like those little things are the things that keep people coming back and keep people going with something new
Oh
when
yeah.
that external person says, hey, like I noticed this thing. And again, like for the gym for sure, but just like in life in general, right? And I think that's like a key component to just like highlight here in this space is like if you're a person that's listening to this and like you notice someone else like at the gym, think about the time that like somebody gave you a compliment and how much it meant to you, whether it was just like, hey, like I noticed you've been working really hard, like keep at it, or just like if it's a friend and you know what the goal is and their goal was, oh, I'm trying to like bulk up, or oh, I'm trying to like cut down, like you can always say like, hey, like you look like you look great, like I noticed the hard work or whatever that means. Like at the end of the day, like it moves the needle for motivation and just like staying at it more than we all I think will ever give it credit for, but it is like such a nice thing to hear.
Oh, for sure, dude. And you know me back in the day, for those who don't know, I was notoriously bad for this at Ohio State, but I would be up talking to everybody at the gym, everybody that
Yeah.
wanted to talk to. I would just go up and talk to him. And Ryan was like, dude, like how do you just do this? Like why? How? And I was like, I don't know, just do it. But like even at the gym I'm at now, like there's this younger guy and he's got like a really good frame for bodybuilding. He probably weighs like a buck 30, needs to eat some fucking food, but like this dude has some crazy wide lats and he's like 15, 16 years old. Or like this girl hit like a 145-pound bench PR and it was like the grindiest lift I've seen in a hot minute. And I was like sitting close and I like went like hit her with a fist bump. So like, yeah, those little things do pay off. I still do that. I encourage everyone to do that because so many times in the gym, people just want to be like to themselves and pissed off and like that's cool and all. Like do what you do, but like once you build that community, you know, a few faces around, you can say what's up to them. It's a lot more of an enjoyable experience. I don't know if you have that out in wildlands. It's a little different maybe,
Yeah.
but I mean you could still probably do it, but it's a little different for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think um there's a like challenge to that too, and like the motivation behind it like
Yeah.
is different as well. I don't want to like start a new thought because we're gonna get kicked out here in a second.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Which
get that.
is
Like the motivation behind it is that's the thing. A lot of people don't know that.
I think the going up and talking to people in the gym is um tough because as much as like I think for me it used to feel like a there was like the gym intimidation thing, which is like we can joke about all we want, but it is real.
Oh yeah.
Um
I mean, I wasn't doing that. I
and
wasn't talking to people within the first 2, 3 years. Like, yeah, that's a real
yeah,
thing.
but at the same time too, like I don't mind when people like say something to me at the gym, but I'm kind of like there. I'm in my own. I'm like in my zone. I'm in my mode, and like I also don't necessarily like talk to other people unless I like if I see somebody that's like struggling with something, or if I see something like that, like I'll go help out. But my mindset also tends to be a little bit like, well, like I'm just kind of here. I'm like trying to like get my lift in and get out. Now, granted, the gym that I go to is chaotic to say the least.
The outfit
So
descriptions that Ryan has hit me with sometimes, I'm like, holy shit, like I can't even picture that. And that's just like a so common occurrence. You'll get dudes in fucking chainmail, like
chainmail,
chainmail
yeah,
from the Middle
chainmail,
Ages. You got
yeah,
I feel like
that.
nipple what are those shirts? Nipple shirt. I think you said that once. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, at some point, I do start to have questions about the point of wearing a shirt if the nipples are out.
Yeah.
I just, you know
And
what I
it's
mean,
and
like
it's
at
not a
that,
cutoff. Like it's just a shirt with nipple
yeah,
holes.
it's not nipple holes, but it's like the straps are so low that like they sit down here, where
Yeah.
you're like, are you wearing that backwards, or is that how that's supposed to be worn? You
Yeah, no,
know?
I've seen shirts like that. I'm like, this, you just need to. But no one will ever trump Pittsburgh Penguins, dude.
Oh, I have multiple of those people now though. That I see them like every day or every other day
Jesus
wearing the exact
Christ.
I there's a new one and it's Harvard guy and he only wears stuff from Harvard and it's the same fit every day.
Oh, bro. You know he's not
Yeah,
washing that shit.
no
Maybe
chance.
maybe once or twice a week.
I would say the only caveat to like Harvard guy is he does shorts with like the 3/4 length leggings underneath. So I'm like, you could, I guess, in theory, be washing the leggings or like wearing multiple, like
Oh
or own
God.
multiple.
I
Yeah,
hope.
it's I
Fuck.
dude, it's crazy. It is crazy town. I sweat too much for that. Like I'm sitting in my like air conditioned apartment right now and like it's 65 degrees in my apartment and I'm sweating. So like,
65?
bro, ice box.
Oh
Put
my God.
I am Mr. Freeze. Like put me in the middle of an ice box always. I'm so here for it.
That's cold as hell. You're running up a
I
check with that bill.
not really, because I don't get any direct sun in my apartment. So
That's
like it
true.
doesn't really like warm up. So like I'll run my air conditioning like pretty intense overnight, which is great because like you're supposed to I think a lot of people at our good friend Henry who wants to basically be sweating while he sleeps, which is not good for you. But like I think there's a lot of
The
studies.
judgment in that statement, you said it's not good for you.
It's not. It's
Henry,
not. It's
live your
also
life, bro. Live your life. You're
no,
firing. You're
no,
doing good,
no,
bro.
no. Stop.
I'm proud of you. You're
He's
doing
not
good.
gonna listen. He's not gonna listen to
I'm
this.
gonna
But
send him
no,
this. I'm gonna fucking email it to him.
He knows my feelings. I say it to him on a frequent basis.
That's
But
awesome.
so I run my AC at night, like super super cold, and I run it overnight. So I sleep really well, and then I wake up and it like stays the same temperature for most of the day. And like I'll turn it on like a couple of times if I go out for a walk, just to like get some air circulating a little bit more. But
For
like,
sure.
yeah, it's not that bad because I also just like I have just like a wall like AC unit.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay. Hmm,
we're out in
gotcha.
LA. Like ain't nowhere here has central AC unless you want to pay buku bucks for it.
Oh, fuck, dude, I bet.
It's crazy. Um. Okay, we're back.
Did we leave?
No, I'm just like getting
Yeah,
us back
yeah,
on track and just back to
yeah,
the interview, back
for
to
sure.
Um. Okay, so sticking a little bit with the compliments theme and with the text message thread that we've had. How at this point in your life, how many pants have you blown the ass out of?
Dude, it sucks, man. Those gray Calvin Klein pants that I had those since like 2017 when I weighed 230 pounds, bro. Like I could barely fit into those motherfuckers and they held the test of time. But it wasn't until, May, I want to say, of this year, the ass, and I was losing weight. I was like 206 when I ripped through those. So within the past 2 months, I've ripped the ass out of two pairs of pants. Luckily, it's Prime Day. I ordered a shit ton of Prime Try Before You Buy, and I'm gonna find my new brand. Like that's the goal for this week. Um, but yeah, I mean, all in all, probably it's definitely been four pairs, maybe more, but definitely remember four pairs specifically throughout the course of everything. Recently though, like, and then Ryan gave me these like blue Abercrombie and Fitch chino pants. Like, love those pants. I don't know, they weren't anything crazy, but I just liked them. They fit with a lot of different outfits and stuff. And I was in Chicago, like literally dancing the whole night, and everything was fine. I go to sit on Matt's couch, and they rip. I'm like, of all the things, I might try to sew those. We'll see.
Yeah, the whole didn't seem too bad.
No, no, the ones on the gray pants, it's done. R.I.P. But maybe the blue ones will live.
Yeah, I found out like well after the fact that I blew out the seam on a pair of suit pants that I bought last year.
Hmm,
So that's
that
fun.
sucks.
And then years ago, I ripped a pair of jeans like from the crotch like down to like the knee. I believe you were there. We were at
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That
um
was wild.
what the fuck is the name of that? We were at Trism in Columbus, Ohio, for all of you Ohio State people listening to this out there. Just a nice little shout out. That absolute trash bar that used to exist.
It's like a fever dream.
Good times, good times. We've had plenty of them. Okay, Dave, what is the current workout playlist? What's on the list? What are we doing? What are we listening
Dude,
to?
I've been listening to a lot of like fun, goofy EDM house sets. So like disco lines, you know, he's been my guy. A lot of that heavy lately. Disco lines is essentially, I would say, like it's very like has some hard hitting shit. But it's like a lot of probably the more recent tech house, which is a little bit more upbeat. And it has some hard hitting, not quite dubstep hard hitting. There's so many genres within EDM, dude. It's fucking ridiculous. But I also like disco lines because like it's just funny shit. Like he samples so many funny things. Like he sampled "You Don't Mess with the Zohan," the part where Adam Sandler's like, "You need to go to the disco," and it's like, oh God, it's just so fun. Like it's goofy, it's fun. He'll sample like moaning sex noises sometimes. He has some great uh club hip hop music. He has a good in the club remix from 50 Cent. He has some good T Swift. So it's like a good little mix. Today I was listening to there's a group called Nico and Sway, and they're generally a little too like poppy and like dancey, like um sorority rush music is their like the shit that gets released on Spotify, but they have this thing called like Nico and Sway Radio, and it's a little bit more hard, and like they just have some like funny commentary in throughout on their like radio station set. And the one they're like, I put this on my story today. I was doing a set of hack squats, and they're like, this week's detention dunce is Amber Heard. They're like, we're so sorry to hear about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation, but Amber Heard goes to detention this week for shitting on Johnny Depp's bed. No one should ever do that. So you're in detention. And I was just about to lose it. Like, what the fuck?
I
And then
did
it goes like
see,
boom, boom, boom.
yeah, I did see that on your Instagram story, and I was quite confused.
It was so funny. It just popped up randomly. Like I'm just listening to music and then they like pop in for a random segment. So that's been heavy. I will like if I really have to get really have to get hyped up. I don't really go heavy anymore, but like there for a second I was dabbling with some heavy stuff, and I'll throw it back to some like just John type Lil Wayne, some Rick Ross. I also made a playlist. It was like a 2000s hip hop playlist that'll make you want to fight your school bully. That was how I felt through it. So a
Is
lot of
that what
fifth,
is the playlist titled that?
something like that, dude. I had a, actually, no, no, no. It's 2000 swole, but in the description, it's like, this will make you want to fight your school bully. And
Okay.
it's got like Akon, 50, some old Lil Wayne. It's got like some more like 2000s eras people too. So like a little bit farther back,
Well,
like
if you pick any song between 2004 and 2009, it's either featuring T-Pain, Akon, or Lil Wayne.
yeah, for real.
Like
Just about.
pick a song, they
Just
got you.
about. Just about, man. But yeah, music's been fun lately. I remember one time you said, I think I was making a video or something, and you actually, I like sent this to you and asked for feedback, and you're like, I don't know if this feels like you, but dude, I think it was because I used like some type of electronic music, and at the time, like it wasn't really my thing, but I loved EDM and dubstep back when I was like 13 to 16. And then I just kind of like fell off of it. Honestly, I think that's partially because influences really changed in the genre. Like that's after that, Skrillex fell off the map and didn't really do shit. I loved Skrillex back in the day. When I would game, I would listen to Skrillex. That was me fucking getting it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cringe. But I mean, look at Skrillex now. Like you can't argue that the dude is doing some
I
crazy shit right now.
I think that you're very right to say that like EDM genre has so much inside of it that like you have to, and I think like a lack of it, like I know music pretty well, and I couldn't tell you, I could make a stab and like listen to 5 tracks and be like, okay, that's EDM and that's dubstep and that's house and that's trance and that's, but like
Yeah.
even inside of that, like house music, right? Like that is there's so many tropical house, there's
Yeah.
like pop house, there's, you know what I mean, so it's like it is such a challenge, but like the old school, like when EDM kind of like first started
Yeah.
showing up,
Oof. It's cringe.
and it's like, what's the, is it the Skrillex song, the Bangarang?
Bangarang bass.
is that is
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what the version of it was, and that to me is like, it just like sounds like noise, like it's not.
So I
I
have a
have
theory, dude. I have a theory. I think, and Serena and I were talking about this too, because she's a big fan of the genre. Serena is a friend of Ryan and ours. I think people that are more prone, and I know you might say that you relate to this and it might not quite identify, but like I definitely think I have ADHD, dude. Like that's something that I've been told multiple, multiple times. I find it very hard to be focused. I can get into a flow state maybe once every month while I'm doing work. It sucks.
mm,
It's very hard for me to focus on things. But like something about the chaos of that, just like it feels so clear in your brain. I don't know. Could be completely unfounded, but
No, I don't think that that's wrong. I think that like you are probably hitting on something that's like 100% true. I think that it's just like I don't want to say that it's not music because like I think like anything that people are spending a ton of time like making and putting like creative effort
oh,
into
there's levels to music though.
is yeah, there is, but like I think a lot of that stuff is like valid. I think the early versions of it,
Yeah.
I think it's very different now. I think a lot of the early versions of it where like electronic music like really like started to come into like actual style in like the 80s.
Yeah.
And so if you think just like where like pop or rap or rock or any of those genres that have been around for a lot longer are now, they're so much more developed, right? Like,
Right.
and they've just had a lot more time to figure that out. But like electronic music and the way that electronic music was made wasn't really started until like the 80s. And so it's just like it is a just newer genre. So like, and it is a genre that like constantly changes based on the technology that's available too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
The
what was
technology was
available,
very different in the early 2010s, late
yeah.
2000s. Okay,
But like
so hear me out. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like I like some of it, but it's just like I'm very selective. Like I love Fred again. I love everything that Fred's doing. I think like his live sets are so much more exciting than most kind of like electronic music artists live sets because he's like playing stuff on the
He
pad while
literally is
he's
a musician. Like,
yeah. And
so
not to say
like,
that other people aren't, because they certainly are. But a lot of times, like, I think my issue with electronic music is in the live shows where I'm like, I like a lot of stuff with the boiler room where I can see people actually like putting stuff together live and they're like
yeah,
taking time. But like when it's no shade, but when it's like chain smokers and I like
yeah,
y'all pressed play at the beginning of this set and that's it. You put a playlist together. And like cool, you made all of this music, but like live, I'm not about it.
right. So to hit on that, and then I'll go back to the point that I was going to make. So if you're an actual musician, and like when I say actual musician, I have a bias because I was classically trained
I
from
was
the
just
time
gonna
when I
say
was 8 to
you
18.
play instruments, yeah.
Yeah.
So like yeah.
So you definitely pick up on things. And like Fred again, he has managed to, he could literally make very similar music to what he can professionally produce with all of the technology. He can almost do it without all of that.
Yeah.
Like with his Tiny Desk performance, he's in there and all the instruments are there. He's got his own vocals and he's putting it all together. And that's why he's pretty damn good. So then you'll have on the other end of the spectrum, like disco lines, like Thad will legitimately say, I don't know shit about music and I'm fucking here and it makes no sense. And that's coming from someone I was like, dude, I played the piano, but like you have very complex there's a term where like what is this term? So you have like a very simple musical pattern, right? Like when you're in your fifth grade music book in school, like you'll play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then there's variations and iterations where they get like slightly more complex over time. And I'm like,
Right.
your ability to break that shit down and then transition it into something and then synthesize the two sounds and also just put on a show, like that's, you can't say you don't know about music because that's almost music in itself. um I think that's pretty much what I was going to say with that. But okay, back to my first point. If
Yeah.
you think about it, I don't know. We might be, so like think about, like you were mentioning the different eras, right? So like, would you say pop as we know it today, maybe early 80s with like Michael Jackson? That's kind of like the advent, right? Of course, there were people before that doing it and probably maybe even doing it better than Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson was damn good and just like huge. So then we think like a decade later, right. Broad
Well,
strokes here.
if you were to like talk to like a music historian, like I think that pop music basically became what pop music is in terms of like the structure and what we do. And obviously, like people have come in and broken that mold and like expanded that mold, whatever. But I really think what you're talking about is actually like the with the Beatles in the 60s. Like
Okay.
that I think is really like the foundation of it, right?
Yeah.
So but and I only bring that caveat because it's 20 extra years prior to what you're saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
is Michael Jackson one of the greatest pop artists we've ever had? Sure. But
Hmm.
like he like perfected a genre,
Yeah.
but didn't necessarily create the genre. He
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe is like the forefather of like what the genre looks like today.
Yeah. That's what I would say. And the Beatles came to mind, but then I was like, ah, they're a band. They had some very like psychedelic, uh, less mainstream projects, really.
Sure.
Sure. So, I mean, either way. So then we think, let's say the advent of that was like median the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Then we have hip hop, right? Got real big, real like superstars in the 90s with Death Row, NWA, all them. And so we started house, and I would say, there's definitely been a peak to pop. There's been a peak to hip hop. Like right now, I don't think we're in. I think even the biggest fans of today's rap and hip hop would say we might not be in a peak of the genre right now, right? Like,
Well, but that's also a challenging thing because if you ask everybody, like we're in like the post genre era.
yeah, yeah,
Like
true.
everybody's every every time you listen to music, like I would say there are people who are distinctly inside of one, but like what kind of music does Frank Ocean make?
Yeah, true.
Like I,
No
no
music.
idea.
When's the last time you
Like
made a song?
well, don't get me started. Don't rip
Okay.
my soul out on this podcast.
Okay,
Anyway,
so we had a maybe a peak of pop as we know it. Like let's say like to me, pop probably peaked and pop R&B six,
2006.
2006. I was gonna
Yes.
say Justin Timberlake. Um,
That's
yeah,
2006. Go back and listen to any song, any pop song that came out in 2006, 2007. You will know every single one of them. You'll know
yeah,
every one of them.
yeah. And then to me, hip hop probably peaked in 2012 to 2014, 2009 to 2012. With like Carter 3 and that shit. And now I'm like, hey, the peak of EDM is coming soon within the next 5 years. That was where I wanted to go with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it is way more, it's way less underground than it used to be. It is still kind of a little more underground. And I think it's tough because it is like, again, like I think it's easier to find similarities in like pop artists and pop music or rap artists and rap music or rock whatever like between two artists. I think EDM is like you could have two artists that are house and they could make such different versions of house. So I think that it's like the challenge there is that it like continues to almost like niche down even more where it's like
Hmm.
you might listen to like I might listen to people that you've never heard of and vice versa, but we're both like, EDM heads or something. I'm not, but like just as an example.
Right. Yeah,
We've
dude.
really like digressed into like music theory here.
That's
I
all
don't
right.
we've lost the plot. No one's listening anymore. Everyone's like signed off a long time ago.
Maybe they'll listen. Maybe they'll listen to this more. Um, yeah, dude. I think like to me, it's like we'll look back on the past like 5 years of like EDM. They'll be like, oh, your Martin Garrixes, your Tiestos, your big like fucking stadium DJs
Yeah,
and shit.
the Vegas DJs.
There'll be some heavy hitters, right? And I don't know, like, I mean, maybe that'll be the peak. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So like I think there's like maybe it's eras rather than like the peak, but that's also a peak.
No, it's a peak, but it's like it's all you know what I mean. Like it all comes back around. It's
Yeah.
like there's always like, oh, this is the genre, like this is the moment, like that we're having, like that's going on in music, or this is the moment that's going on in fashion. It's just like everything is cyclical, right? Like it all comes back around. I think the only caveat to that now is just like music is so everything's been so democratized that it's like I don't know that there'll ever be like a true like come like the fact that Billie Eilish was as big as she was 3 years ago in the world that we operate in now, and just like the way that music is distributed and the way that people like listen to music, to be frank, is like shocking. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, her first full length album I loved. I thought it was incredible, but like, I mean, blew up. She was like one of the biggest artists in the world, and like that doesn't really happen. You don't have like global blow ups like that anymore. Like Taylor Swift is huge, Beyonce is huge, Kendrick Lamar is huge, but they're carrying over from a different era. You know what I mean? Like it's just different world. It's wild.
Bro, can I
It's
say
wild to
something? It
me.
might be it's not a hot take. I fucking hate Taylor Swift girls, bro. Not for me. I
Um,
don't fucking hate them. I love you guys. For all my
no,
there's no one out there that listens to Taylor Swift that's listening to me right now. Bro.
my issue is people. My issue is not specifically that. My issue is like people who make their personality around an artist, or like,
Yeah.
and this is like across the board. Like, I don't understand people who like lose their minds over like on the internet about an artist doing something. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, just like where do you have the free time? I
Yeah.
guess is like my number one question. But like that's my issue is like people who like their personality is based on I'm a Swifty or
Yeah.
I'm in the Beehive or I'm in the whatever. Like
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
wild to me. That's where I draw the line. Like you could be a huge fan, but just like
Yeah.
if you have nothing else to contribute to anything in like your life on the day-to-day basis is based around what that person is doing, who that person is dating, if they're on tour, the music they're making, and like there's nothing else there. You know what? I want everyone to love what they want to love, and I want everyone to have their passions. And
But but Kanye was right,
you do
damn it.
you, and you
God damn
keep
it.
shining.
Kanye was
But
right. Beyonce
I
deserved it.
want I want more for everybody. That's what I want. I want more for everybody, and I want more for their lives.
What we're saying here, guys, is Kanye was right.
Okay, that's not what we're saying. I want to be abundantly clear. I want to be heard on this podcast that I am not saying that
Everything
Kanye was
Kanye is.
right.
Oh wait.
No. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Watch your fucking mouth. I will not be quoted
The
on
Kanye
this
stands are gonna come
podcast.
for you.
No, no.
Uh,
Anyway, non sequitur. My last question for you,
uh,
and I'm sure we will turn into some sort of like offshoot here, is if you weren't working in fitness, if you were not like in fitness, what would you be doing with your life?
Dude, that's a great question. Um, and man, does it have to be one?
No, no.
Mm,
You know I'm all about the multi hyphenate. You know I'm all about it.
yeah, yeah, dude. I was really into like money when I was, um, before when I was into the gym, but like still not 100% in. I would watch like investment shows and like I did a lot with that shit. Did a couple projects in high school about it. Um, I think there might have been a time and place for that, but yeah, it would have killed my soul probably too. I think teaching also would have been a thing for me. I don't know what I would have taught, but definitely like interacting with people in that way. I
You're
can
an
see
English
that.
teacher. You're a classic English teacher.
Yeah, probably English. I did love
Yeah,
English.
yeah. I don't. My book is over on the coffee table. I can't pick it up and show it to you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I can see that. Honestly, yeah, probably would be a teacher. English would probably be the move. liked my English teacher a lot. Eli Denias's mom was my English teacher. I actually nominated her for like most impactful teacher.
Love
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah, you would be a fun teacher. You have to teach like high school kids though. You can't do younger than that.
Yeah, probably. Um, yeah, I like younger kids, but I wouldn't be able to teach them.
Yeah. I don't like
Teenagers.
younger kids. Keep your under 10-year-olds away from me. They don't like me either, which is fine.
So like that big tall man, he told me to fuck off.
I it's never that energy, but like they don't know what to do with me and I don't know what to do with them. And it's like it's fine. It's just like it's a thing we do. It's like that I don't teach dance to anyone younger than like 13.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I never heard you say that, but like I kind of picked up on that.
I just like it's not one, I don't know how to like take what I'm doing and like put it down at a level for that age group
Hmm.
and like for everyone to still have fun. Like for me to enjoy the teaching and for them to actually enjoy what I'm doing. And I don't know, like they're scared of me. I mean, the full adult level like teenagers are scared of me. Like I walk into a room and there's just like a hush falls over the crowds when I'm teaching. Like they're
Interesting.
they're
Why do you think
scared.
that is? Is it because you're just tall and muscular? Not what you
I
typically
think it's
see, or
I think it's tall. I think that like in this, I'm gonna sound like such a asshole right now. I think in certain circles it is like a little bit of a like, oh, his reputation precedes him kind of thing. Like if I'm teaching in Columbus or if I'm teaching just like in the greater Midwest area, like a lot of those people at least have seen me or heard of me, and I'm not like I'm not the like neighborhood dance teacher who's like doing this after school and just like having fun with it. Like I'm coming in and I'm like, nope, like we're doing hard stuff today, kids. Like let's get after it. And
hmm, they're like, oh
I
shit, we got to work.
they like well, and that's the other part too, is like as you know, I my form of love is tough love. I'm like try to be very supportive and try to I pick people up and whatnot, but I am the tough love person. That's fine. I know that about myself, where I'll tell you where you effed up, and then I'm like, here's how we're gonna get back on track, and I'm gonna help you get back on track, and we're gonna figure this out. And I'm the same way as when I teach. I walk in and I go, don't bring laziness. If you're bringing laziness into this classroom today, the door is right there. Like I don't have time for it. You don't have time for it. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. Like you're wasting my time, you're wasting your time. Like, but if we're gonna be here, we're gonna work. And I don't care if you don't want to dance for the rest of your lives, but like we're not accepting mediocrity. Like we're not accepting like this base level thing. So a lot, but like that's the other thing too, is the 10, 11, 12 year olds, like they're not there yet. That's like they can't comprehend that.
Yeah.
They're there because mom told them to be in dance class and they don't really have a choice, right? 13, 14, 15, you start to have some choices, right? Like you're kind of at a threshold where you can decide if you want to be in this class or you don't want to be in this class anymore. And then I can also be like, bring the tough love and be like, you have to work hard. This is not what I'm about to give you is not going to be easy. What we're about to do is not going to be easy. But like, if you work, you're going to like it. You're going to love it. It's going to be cool. And like, it's going to be fun and it's going to do well at competition and people are going to like your performance, blah, blah, blah. But like, if you work with me, it's not easy. It's not simple. It's not like cutesy. That's not what I do.
It ain't none of
Um,
that TikTok shit, you know?
no, and they
It's
they know that
work.
too. They know that too. So I think like the high school thing is just like I don't know how to really even like I have like godchildren and stuff now, and I'm like, hey, like I don't know what to do with people that are like under 13.
Pukes in the back of the mouth.
Yeah, probably. I'm puking in the back of my
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Good questions. All right. We have a little bit of time left, Ryan. I wasn't impressed, let's be honest. No, I was impressed. Those were good questions. Those are good questions. No, I want you
We
to
went
think
on
of
some tangents, but I didn't want to like fire off like 12, 15 questions at you. Like I had some questions. I wanted the conversation to meander.
do you have anything that's
I'm not,
really hard for me? Or like anything that comes to mind that's like you wonder
well, I
as a
have something that's
friend.
always hard for you, Dave.
Takes a lot of effort to get that thing to I'll stop it there.
Yeah, thank you. We don't need to
I
go
want you to hit
any.
me with a good one. Like something that's again something that's good as we close it out.
What's one thing that you're most afraid of for the next 5 years?
If this fitness business doesn't work out, if it was all for nothing. And yeah, dude. Um
It's go deeper because it's not the if this fitness business work out. It is the more was this all for nothing. That's what it is,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Only time will tell. But I got a couple things up my sleeve. No, no, no. I think I mean, do you want me to delve deeper? What do you want from that? I mean, I could
I
get into
don't
the backstory. I could.
I don't think we need to get into the backstory. I think that isn't like an honest answer. I think that there's probably more pieces to the puzzle. Um, but I do think that I think the core fear is was X amount of time all for naught. It's the sunk cost fallacy.
Hmm.
Did I spend, all of this time, all this money, X, Y, and Z doing this thing that now isn't going to work out or that I don't want to do ultimately? It's the same. I think like a lot of doctors, a lot of lawyers, a lot of people who like go through extended schooling feel that
Hmm.
way and they kind of stick with something even though they don't enjoy it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bryce and I had this conversation toward the end of like the internship mentorship. And I think he like one guy, I don't know if he'll watch this, but Jacob, he transitioned out because he was like, yeah, dude, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be. It's a lot of fucking work and it's just a lot. And I'm like, yeah, dude, but like there's something out there for you that you're gonna do really good with. So like
Yeah.
you're gonna do great. Um, and Bryce was like, it's okay to stop. And like I needed to hear that too. Like he's like, if you don't want to do it, like it's okay. Bryce is interesting because he like fully shifted over to like the CEO and like fell out of love with the actual lifting and like the actual process. Which like I think he'll probably get back into that eventually.
He's running a
He
business.
Yeah,
He's running
which
a
is like
business. He's
something that
not.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to do. And that's a whole thing, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe I will. Maybe I'll get to that point. I think one thing I compare it to, like the business side, yeah.
I got nowhere to be.
Um, so I think like I just don't fucking quit, dude. I just don't give up. Like with the gym, I did so much dumb shit, did so much wrong for the first like 5 years, let's say. And then things started clicking after that. Made some progress. I feel like that's very similar to where I'm at now because I've really just so young into this. And I never knew shit about the gym, never knew shit about lifting. Came from very adverse circumstances. Same thing with the business. I think there's some great potential there, just because I don't stop. Like, and I don't necessarily want it to be like Bryce had us read this book called The Effective CEO or something. And I was like, this book fucking sucks, dude. Like, I don't give a fuck about this book. So the one thing that I didn't read throughout that whole thing. And I gave it an honest shot. Like I fucking pounded it and pounded it and pounded it, but I just couldn't finish it. And I don't know. I think that it still could work out. Like I think that still might be a thing. So
I mean, there's like some stat that like 90% of podcasts quit after like the first 10 episodes or something like that, right? Like
And here we are, episode 69. They thought they had me at 69 when I went through a breakup, but here we are.
it's like it's a consistency thing, like just keeping at it. But at the same time, like I have quit stuff. I have like left stuff behind. And
Yeah, you're going through it right now. Kind of.
well, but I think it's more just like understanding like we do a really bad job, and this is like a societal thing. You're gonna get me on my fucking soapbox here.
It's okay.
Um,
I mean, just I don't give a fuck. If you have a time cut off, cut it off. But
I mean, I gotta go get my laundry. Um, that's been done for some time now, so hopefully no one's waiting on the dryers. Um, no, the thing about it is like we think that people have to like do the same thing for their whole lives and be interested in the same things for their whole lives, and we don't really like give people the space to change. And when we do, and when people do change, everyone assumes that it's because they failed or because it didn't work out or whatever. And I saw a story a year ago, 2 years ago sometime, and whether it's true or not, like if it was just kind of like you know a fictional thing, doesn't matter. It kind of really stuck with me. And this a couple had opened up a coffee shop, and they'd been running like a local coffee shop in their community for the better part of like 6 or 7 years. And they decided to close the coffee shop, um, and just like made an announcement that they were closing in 4 or 5 months, and close the coffee shop. And they would see people out, and people all the time would come up to them and say, "Oh, like we're so sorry it didn't work out. Like we're so sorry. Like it seemed like the business was so good." And the couple would say, "Well, no, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with the business. We just our interest shifted, and we just didn't want to continue to run this coffee shop. Like we wanted to end it while it was still good, and not like run it into the ground and have it be a place that we hated, because our interest had shifted. We had run it for 7 years, which meant that they'd probably been thinking about it for a couple of years prior to that, right? And everybody automatically assumed because they closed it that they had failed, that the business had failed, and that they were like quitting. And they just they wanted to leave something and have it still be like a positive memory and a positive impact on them. They didn't want to leave something and have it be, you know, they left it because they started to hate it.
mm-hmm.
And if you're still loving it, and like you're still loving what you're doing, and like that's the thing like that keeps you going, then keep going. You know what I mean? Like keep at it. But I think that staying with something just because everybody is telling us that that's what we're supposed to do, because we've already committed so much time to it and that we can't restart or whatever, I think that's a travesty. I think that's selling yourself short. I think that's just like selling your life short, frankly. And not saying that like starting a new career or starting a new hobby or starting a new passion or whatever that means is easy, but I would argue that doing something that you genuinely feel passionate about and having it be difficult is 10x better than doing something that you don't like, even if it's 10% easier than whatever the other thing is. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think the CEO book like probably didn't resonate with you because like you're not, what you're doing is you're building a business to support a passion, and not making a turning a passion to support a business, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not necessarily like, "Oh, I'm trying to be a CEO, I'm trying to be the CEO of my own business," right? You're like, I like what I do. I'd like to make enough money and like maintain a level of lifestyle while I'm running this business, but I like what I'm doing and I want to keep doing it.
Dude, that's funny that you say that. Two things. First thing, I watched there's a guy named Chris Williamson. Have you ever seen his podcast? He has like a lot of really good guests.
You maybe have sent me some stuff from him before. I
I
would I would
I,
need
I
to see his
just found
I
him like last week, dude.
oh, okay. I then probably not.
Yeah. So he had Mike Israetel on. and that's how I found out about him. But then he just released an episode with Chris Bumstead on Monday. Wow. First of all, the fact that the face of bodybuilding is Chris Bumstead and he's as good of a person as he is very fortunate because, like, especially with bodybuilding, there's so many shit bags in the fitness industry. Dude, Chris Bumstead, so much respect game for him through that podcast. You should watch it. It's 2 hours long and it never gets bad. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But he tells, like, have you heard like the Mexican Fisher parable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I was like, fuck, like that hits home. But then I think like going back to Bryce, right? So like we saw Bryce when he was like in the shit, like the dude couldn't be phased by hardly anything else. And like he was living it. He was like lifting 800 pounds every day. Like the toll on his body, like just the physical size of him. Like I can't fathom the shift from that to where he is now, but I know it'll happen. I just wonder how it'll happen for me.
I mean, sure, it will happen. I mean, some of that is like, I mean, I think Bryce is like my age, maybe a couple years older than me.
He's your age, maybe 1 year older
Like,
than you.
yeah, like your body will start to like maybe play a factor
Yeah,
into it. But
yeah. He got injured pretty badly during COVID.
I mean, at the same time, like, I I dance like I did when I was 18? No.
He danced like I say honestly, for those who need an analogy, Ryan was the Johnny Sins of dance with a man bun. No, you had a man bun. No, you didn't have a man bun back then.
Where are you getting these analogies? Don't work.
My analogy game has been shit this podcast. But you were the Johnny Sins of dance.
What are you trying to say with that analogy?
You were really good at dance. All about it.
Okay, just like could have, because like saying that could be like, oh, he does all the genres, because the joke is like Johnny Sins is like a doctor and a
Oh no, I
lawyer and
appreciate Johnny Sins for what he is, a master.
okay, I we're going too deep into this subject now. Anyway, enough with the eyebrows. Just cut it. Absolutely not. There's already there's already like at least a couple people that hear us interact that are like, what is going on between the two of them? So you don't need
Yo,
to encourage that anymore.
real quick, I have a funny story about that. So, not us, but like another one. I'm get a boomerang for the gram. So, I was out to lunch with uh Scott and Patrick, who are like I told you, like I've
Uh-huh.
had some good conversations with them, and they really care about me. And um, isn't it bad and sad that like it's weird for that to be a thing? Like I'm like, why the fuck do you care about me like this? Like, and like you're the same way. Like I think that about you. I'm like, what the fuck? Like what is going on? But that's just the world we live in. Like that's weird for me. Like I'm like, why do you care this much?
Is it, I'm like, I
That's
don't want to be
weird.
like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to be crass. Is that a genuine thought that you
I,
have? Like,
I
why do these
think
people care about me?
I think a lot of people think that like that like I think a lot of people don't have that. I really do think that. Like
Okay.
I understand it, like I get it, and I accept it. But I'm like, huh, like this is just not normal. Like you don't see that every day. A lot of people go through life and they're just like, what can I get off this person, or like, how can I mutually gain? It's not ever, hardly ever, just like, hey, like how are you doing? I care about you. I want to pour into you. Very very rare. It's a very rare thing.
I guess I guess it's not rare in my life,
Yeah,
and so I like constantly am kind of like, is this real? Like I really just struggle because I'm like, is it really that rare? Because like that is the function. Those are the friendships that I have. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like those are the people that I have in my life, and I mean, frankly, those are the people you have in your life too. Whether you see them on like maybe you don't have them like next door to you, but those are some of the people you have in your life as well. But so I just like, to me, I'm like, there is not really another version of friendship. Like that's what it is. That's what it's supposed to be.
yeah.
It is more weird to me that you think that it's weird.
Yeah,
That
but
like
trust
you
me.
have like that you have like the active thought that it's weird. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
for sure. I get that. But
but
trust
do
me.
but like if you explain like our friendship to people, do they think it's weird? They're like, who is this person? There clearly something else going on.
Yes.
Seriously.
Dude, okay, let me tell you. This kind of goes in the story, but not 100%. So we go to this place called Brew Burger on Mass Ave, and like the the hostess girl, she's cute, all that. And then our waiter was like a real sassy type gay. He was great. And so like I went to the bathroom and they were like outside waiting for me. And I'm like walking back out through the front after the bathroom, and I hear the waiter go, "So what did we think of table number 9? Like what was that?" And I just lost my shit, started cracking up. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not sure." And then I like looked at her and made eye contact with her, and she's like, I was like, it's so funny.
Yeah, I guess I just like it's I don't know, it's really it's like weird for me that that's a thing. I guess like one I those kind of emotions from people I'm so or like those kind of reactions from people I like just don't people tell me all the time, and you and I have talked about this. People tell me all the time that like when I walk into a room, like people notice me. Like I like conversations stop. I'm not aware of that. I'm wholly unaware of it. Like genuinely,
I like to
I might
emphasize the situation when it happens. Like I'll be like,
I
perennial son in class, link in my bio, while the noise is low. Like I like to capitalize on it, see what I can do,
I'll
you know?
like I'll catch it every once in a while, but I catch it very infrequently. And then I also just like I don't think about it when it's like me and four of my like best guy friends sitting at a table having breakfast, and like like we're not chatting like douchery, but we're like sitting talking about like the merits of like a political policy, or we're like talking about why this movie was good and did we like the screenplay, or like we're sitting being like, are you okay, like what's going on in your life, right? Like I don't
Well, that in
it
itself is a very rare thing.
but it just like doesn't I don't like phase, and so it's just like that's weird. That's so weird to me that that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I get it, and every once in a while I look around and I wonder if I was the catalyst for that being so prevalent in all of my friends' lives as well, in the way that like my friends like create their friendships, if that was me, or if it's just like I just happened upon the right people and I developed what I developed with them, and they had, you know what I mean? Like
Probably a little
I
both, but
wonder about
mostly
it.
the former.
Sure, we'll never really know, right? Like we'll never know, and it's just one of those things that sometimes I'm like, huh, like it is so prevalent in my life, and it is so like the people in my life do just like create deep, meaningful friendships with the people that they have in their lives, whether that's just like friends or their partners or whatever. So it's weird to me that it's weird to other people, because I don't know. I guess everyone just needs to fucking be in therapy.
Yeah.
Like, what does it take away from me to ask you how you are and to like pour into you? Like, what does that?
Well, I think that's the thing, is it just comes off as like, is that genuine? Like does the person really mean that? Like, why the fuck would they care? It doesn't take anything from you. That's how it should be. But like,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I genuinely really do struggle to comprehend it. We've really gone off the rails on
that's
this
okay.
whole conversation now.
This is more of what I wanted.
Well, I didn't want to. We can't go right here.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and now
Um,
I'm also talking too much. That's the other thing.
no,
Is like
no, not at all.
when you bring things like this up, it turns I can't shut my fucking mouth, and it's less of an interview, and it's just me like yelling about why the world sucks and I don't understand. Like I understand people, but I don't understand people.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me that that's not normal for everybody, but I it's not normal for everybody, so I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Another good question.
Very, very normal in yours and my lives.
I mean, I don't know if it's normal in my life.
I disagree, but okay.
What makes you say that?
I think that you are hesitant to say that it exists in your life because you have made decisions based on partners in the past and not necessarily based on like the people around you.
For sure.
And so I think that you're in a moment right now where you're maybe second guessing that it actually exists because of some of the decision making that's happened in your life.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that it's not there and that it hasn't already been developed, but everyone just like prioritizes different components of their lives at different stages, right? If you're dating someone, everyone always makes the jokes, like the guys who are single and the guy who gets into a relationship, the joke is like, oh, Johnny fell off. We don't see Johnny anymore. There's only so much time in the day you have like to dedicate into each of those spaces. If you develop them really well at the outset, you can go and pour more into this other space that you need to, but that doesn't take away from what you've already built, right? So like I don't want to put you on blast, but I'm gonna put you on blast. You're
That's what I
coming
came for.
you're coming out of a relationship right now where you've felt like your decision making process in your life for the like recent past and the past prior to that, your decisions in your life were being dictated by the partner that you had, and the time that you had in your life was primarily being poured into that person or your like work in your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that, you were maybe not developing the relationships and the friendships that you feel like would that I think would make you feel a little bit more secure in saying that that's something that you develop, right?
Yeah.
But you have that, like you and I have that relationship. I would argue that you have that relationship with at least a couple of other people that I know. Whether you acknowledge that or not is a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think you develop it. I think that you maybe just because you think it's weird, because you are like, what, why would anybody do this? Why is this a thing? That you have a mental block as to seeing those other relationships you built as being that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to kind of relate it back to the fitness thing or like an entrepreneurial thing, like there's no there's no explanation for that. Like you've done it. You've built up a business and done your own thing and freelanced like a motherfucker. Like there is no path for that. So it's like, what do you do after college? Like
Yeah.
you make ends meet, you grow in your skills. But for me, it was like probably less about like, oh, like I want to follow a partner. It's like I just don't know what the fuck to do. So like this sounds good. This is an option. And like what else would I have done after graduating? Like I could have stayed in Columbus for sure. But like at the time I was like, seems kind of stale. Seems like there's more out there that I should explore. And it wasn't the right move to move to New Jersey. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but like at the same time, it was like, well, like this is I mean, there were some good things with that, a lot of bad things. But there's some good things with that. And it's like, well, this is a route that could bring out some experiences that would be good. And like I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know how to do a business. Like, well, figure it out on the fly.
Yeah,
And
but
same thing here, like
that's
same thing indie. Like I don't want to live
that's
in
how
a
it's gonna
small
be
ass town.
always. That's
Yeah.
how it's going to be always.
Right.
Like growing up and becoming an adult and realizing that our parents didn't have it any more figured out than we do, like, is, I don't know, like, I think the biggest learning of life is like when you are 18, 19, 20, however old you are, when you like look at your parents and you are like on a quote unquote level playing field, and you realize that like all these people who make these big decisions all the time, that you saw them making these decisions about what, where are we going, or what are we doing, what's the next step, and you get there and you realize like they don't know what they're doing either, right? Like everyone is just doing the best that they can with what's right in front of them. And ultimately, I think as of recently, I'm kind of coming back into my own self around like, am I following what I really want to do? Is that is
Mhm.
that the is that the decision maker that is that the like North Star I'm using? And that, career wise, passions wise, just like with my life, like, am I following what I want to do? There
Mhm.
is, that's not what we talk about, right? Like, it's all built around security and safety, and like, that's what our parents want. And,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's what
I think that's the biggest
that's,
difference between the generations too, is like that was the move, was security and safety after college for them. But then for this generation,
well, in school, and school was, like, school was built on like pumping people into like the blue collar workflow, into the blue collar work, system. Like, it's just like the way that school was oriented was not around building people to go out and make their own businesses. They don't teach classes on that in any sort of like high school environment. They barely teach classes on it in a college environment, and even then it's still like in academia, which is like works but kind of doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, and inside of that too, like, what if you are like a biomedical engineer who, wants to create art with like prosthetic parts, and you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many paths that exist, and there just like isn't, no one, no one's tread before, that no one's done it before. And like, even if they have done it before, you probably want to do it differently, like,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
just, I don't know.
What did you say the other day, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when you texted me and you were like, try to do what you want as long as you can, like, and don't let the money come into it or whatever.
That sounds like something I would say. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think
These
that
things
was
just kind of like fly out of my fucking mouth, and I don't remember after the fact.
was a good one. It's kind of a bar. I'd say rivals anything that Drake put out.
I am known do to have like statements like that, to have like not quick witted things, but just like, profound is not the right word, but I'm not having a better word at the moment, so I'm gonna say profound. But like,
Yeah.
saying something that is like, oh shit, like, yes, that is it.
Yeah.
I don't know where they come from. I was intelligent and wise in a past life, not, certainly not in this current one.
I don't call you Dumbledore for no reason.
It's, you know. We gotta wrap this up because I'm realizing it's not that late for me, but it's late for you.
I'm tired. I was up at
Yeah,
5:45 this
I
morning.
know, I know. It's time for you to go to bed. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, this was
The
podcast
nicest
number
episode
69.
of the Trainer Scoop ever.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We meandered a lot. There's probably some stuff you could cut out. Um I didn't think that this is where you wanted this to go. Had I known this is where you wanted this to go, we would have started in a whole different place.
Yeah.
Um because when you called the other day, you made it seem like
I said
you just
hard-hitting
like wanted,
questions.
no,
I
you
said
just were
hard
like,
questions. Maybe not hard-hitting
you
questions. Different things.
I don't even think you said hard questions. You're like, I just think it'll be fun. Like, let's just get on and have some fun. It's episode 69. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can ask me whatever you want. And I was like, okay,
Well,
cool. Like,
Ryan,
that's,
how does a 69 session usually end?
with me on the couch with a turkey sandwich and a cigarette. I don't fucking know.
A turkey sandwich. Smoking a cigarette. Listening to Frank Ocean.
Anyway, we're closing this out. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. We appreciate you. You can find David at DMart Training on Instagram, on YouTube. Is that your? No, you're just David Martin on YouTube, or is it DMart Training on YouTube?
They redid YouTube, so now it's all handles as well. But
Okay,
it
so
will
you're
say David
DMart
Martin.
Training now.
Yeah, DMart_training.
Yeah,
Social media.
DMart_training on all social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
You can find Ryan on
that's all, folks.
OnlyFans.com.
I knew you were gonna do this. I almost beat you to it. And I was like, you know what? We just had a wholesome moment, so I'm gonna let this wholesome moment.
Am I kidding?
He's kidding.
The
I don't
world
have
will
an
never know.
OnlyFans. The
No, I'm
world
kidding.
certainly knows.
Not that I know of,
OnlyFans.
at least. If he has one, he's hiding it from me.
I can keep a secret, but that is probably too large of a secret to have kept. Get the fuck out of here. We're logging off.
All right, guys. Thanks for
This has
watching.
been the
Appreciate
Trainers
you.
Group. Thanks for watching. Bye.